Hi, this is Zach again, and this time we're going to be talking about how to make a BIM model. Using that elevation I used in the previous video called How to Lay Out Parts for a BIM Model, uh, I went through all these details and put layout data for all of them, as you can see here. Everything is filled out. I have offsets and angles on all the parts, on all my details. Now it's a simple matter of show you my taglines. All the taglines are there. To get these mark numbers to show up, I run UPD or update database. That pushes all the tagline data onto my backend database, which contains all of the information for this job, including the detailed data that you see in this window. That forces it to process it, figure out the lengths of everything, where everything goes. Using the layout data, it knows where everything is located relative to the taglines, so now I can run my BIM command. So run BIM. It first asks you what tags you want to actually model. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do just part of this elevation, just to give you an idea what that might be used for. If you're only concerned with one section of the model, it's much quicker to run it on one intersection rather than the whole thing. And then it asks what you want to do with a BIM model. You can either open it, save it, or do both, open and save. Typically, you do both most of the time. If you're doing a script, you might want to just save it so it doesn't keep opening it. Sometimes you may just want to open it and then not save it at all. Not used very often. I usually do both. Then it automatically puts you into the models folder of your job. And depending on if it's a unit or an elevation, it'll put it in the elevation models or the unit models folder. It picks the default name. I almost never change this. Segmented walls you might want to, but for this I'm not going to. Asks if I want to overwrite it. I've ran this before, so that's why that file already exists. And then there's my BIM model. It took the part data from the detail as well as the layout data and created this model, what it calculated the length should be based on the taglines. There's another command related to this called QBIM, and it uses the most frequently used options. So when I run QBIM, it asks me to select the tags. I'm going to type in all. I'll run the whole thing. Doesn't take that long. Enter. And then this one doesn't ask me what I want to do with it or where I want to save it. It'll just do the option of both open and save, and it will save it in the default location. And there's my entire BIM model for this elevation. I like to use the view cube to look around. And what you normally want to do when you first create these is check everything, make sure that it's all in the right spots. This looks pretty much like the detail. You can tell the length is wrong on the vertical here, but well, that's for another video. My horizontal looks good, and my head looks good here. This is actually a lug, which I'll show you how to get correct later. And then I use the view cube to switch the view around so I can see my verticals. Here's the jam, intermediate vert. They all look pretty good. Also, when you open up a BIM model, it shows you this Takeoff properties window. This has everything that's part of this job. So you can do some preliminary checking from this. You can click on one of the items in here. It will highlight it. It's hard to see on that blue part. Let me pick something else. So you can see it kind of highlighting. I don't know how well that'll show up on this video, but you can also see the little arrows at the ends in blue. So that shows you which part you actually clicked on. It also gives you its fab number, its mark number, and its length, and also any parts that are attached to it. So that's a good way to check if you have all your parts, and using those different views you can see if they're the right length, and you can even check the numbers. You can also go the other way. You can click on, say, this part here, this horizontal, and it highlights it in this list here, so you can check the other direction as well. And that should about do it. Thanks.